Greetings, Minecrafters! Nonsanity here, and welcome to another episode of All the Mods 9 to the Skies. Alright, we had to split the last episode into two parts. This is the second part. And now we just need to go over what we've done. Got started in neural networks. Got started industrial foregoing. Let's get started over here. This is for something I'll have to make shortly using industrial foregoing and the latex. You may recognize it. It's going to be for the fisher. Because otherwise I can't get the fish seeds. I need a lot of fish to populate the jars, either by killing fish or using the fisher to fish them up and then feeding them through that device over here that we were using before to get the chicken seeds. But this is for a different mod. This is for integrated dynamics. And this is a trick I've seen someone else do, and it's sort of fun. We can sift to get the sapling, the mineral saplings. There we go. You can buy sifting moss. You get a lot of the mod saplings, including for Ars Nouveau, all the ones for that, and the source berries. And Ars Elemental also has another tree. But you can get the mineral sapling in here. So once you get that, you need to process the logs. So you put them here in this squeezer. And let me remember, is that the right spot for it? It's been a while since I had this set up. I've forgotten what my arrangement was. Does this have a pusher in it? It does. Okay, yes. So here are the mineral logs. You place one in here, and then you can jump on this a few times, and you see it's going down, and then blunk. It's all the way down, and it's squished it, and it's made juice. It's juiced the log. And then if you place I guess the way I placed it, I got to put this here. Yeah. That squirted it into the drying basin. And where it'll dry, and then you get a block of crystallized mineral. Now it's important to note here in the bottom, there's that channel down the middle of it. It only squirts out the juice in either of these two directions. It will not squirt to this side. So how you place this block determines which directions it's going to squirt the juice. And what I placed here was a timer. This is from RF Tools. Not expensive to make. Some some stone, gold nuggets, redstone, one clock. And this gets you a timer. And I placed that wrong. It cares about which side of the block you place it on. If I place it over here, then it's going to be aimed in that direction. I want it to aim in that direction. If you open it up, you can say how often it pulses. And once a second is fine for this. That's 20 ticks, so that's once a second. Because this block only goes back up when it gets a tick. As you saw, after I finished jumping on it, it was down, and it stayed down. If you were to put a pressure plate or a button or a lever here and gave it a redstone signal, I think one more. No, that was down. Then it resets. But if you place this here, it'll just reset it once a second. It'll only do that when it's all the way down, so I can still jump on it. If I had a log in there, it would squirt its juice out when I got to the bottom, and then it would pop it back up. Oh no, it does pop it back up. Ah, that's interesting. I don't know if that's changed. I've never used a timer on it while I was doing it manually. I've always used a pressure plate in this spot and then sort of stood on the edge. Let me grab one just to show. Because if you're doing it manually, it's sort of handy. So if you just sort of stand right here on the edge of it, and then as you jump, when it gets to the bottom, and let's get a log stick the log in there and actually do it. So jumping on the edge here. When it gets all the way down, step off. I thought it would actually, it used to hit it automatically. Anyway. But we're not doing that. We're doing the timer and place it the right direction. All right. Now this should be pushing north. Ah, it's pushing south. I need to right-click to push north. There, it pushed a log in. Pusher upgrade. But now, how do we get... We don't want to just stand here and jump on this all the time ourselves. Especially with the timer going off, it won't work very well. So, let's place a couple blocks. I'm using these just because I got them, but let's place this up here. And place an armor stand. And place another armor stand here. Now I break that. I want a thumbnail. I always forget about my thumbnails. But if I can get this one timed right, I think it would make a funny thumbnail. All right. I might have gotten it. If not, I can come back later and do it. But yes, so it comes, the two armor stands are enough force to push it all the way down because they're coming from high enough. And then when this thing ticks and it resets, you saw how it was shoving me off. It shoves the armor stands back up in the air with enough force that they're high enough to come back down and crush the log again. The problem is there's nowhere for the juice to go. So we need to get that to extract. There we go. This has a puller from the north, so it'll pull the dried mineral out. And now that is a complete system. Yeah, it won't, it has a flattened one in there. There's a new one. Squishes it. It won't put a log in there every time because this thing is the slow one. It's got to wait till it resets. I suppose we could put another one on the back here, and that would basically be drying twice as fast because this is running faster than it needs to. But, you know, this is just to get started. Once you get enough of these, you can craft some of them down into the crystallized mineral chunks, and then these can be used to make, let's see, it's going to make the energy battery. So you take the drying basin, two of these energy batteries, which require the blocks of crystalline mineral and these chunks. Two of those, two obsidian, and the drying basin gets you a RF-powered drying basin. And the same thing, but with a diamond, and the squeezer gets you an RF-powered squeezer. Then you just pipe things in, give them power, and they do the exact same process, but without the jumping armor stand. Still, that I quite love that. That's fun. All right, got 12. All right, so let's clear out my inventory. And go in there. Next project chest. So this one was the essence, did that. This one was some of the other ones, we did that. I think we're ready to do this chest. We're going to start with Mekanism. Now, the first machine you make is the metallurgic infuser, and it's pretty easy. Iron, osmium, redstone furnaces. Not expensive to make at all. And I'm just going to place it here. You only need to make one at first. I'll put these back. And what you want to get is some redstone and some iron and some osmium. I'll get a bit more redstone. And I missed the osmium. There we go. Now you put one redstone in here and you get 10 millibuckets of redstone juice in this chamber. And you place a piece of iron in here and it'll use up that 10 juice to convert the iron ingot into an alloy, an infused alloy. I think it takes 2 redstone to make 1 osmium. Oh, it needs power too, of course. There we go. Still had some power from when I was setting it up beforehand. I think this one takes 2. Let's see if it all goes away. Yes. And that gets you the basic control circuit. These 2 are the bread and butter of making most of the other machines. Basic control circuit is upgraded by mixing it with the infused alloy, like so. That gets you the next tier, and then you can go up one more tier like that with the reinforced alloy. To get the reinforced alloy, we need to get some diamond. I'm also going to get some obsidian while I'm in here. So if you put 1 diamond in here, you get... Oh, that's right. It doesn't take diamonds. It has to be... All right. So we won't do that yet. We'll use these materials to make the next machine, which is the enriching factory. Enrichment chamber, excuse me, which is a steel casing. And see here, it uses these basic control circuits. There we go. Place that down. That you put in the diamond, and it will turn it into enriched diamond. It used to be you could just put the diamonds themselves into the infuser, I thought. You could probably crush them. But you can also put the redstone in here. And then instead of giving you 10 millibuckets, which is enough to do 1 piece of iron, this will do 8. So 80 millibuckets, and it'll work for 8, make 8 of these infused alloys. But if you take the enriched diamond and place it in here, because it was enriched, you get 8 times as much, 80. And then you take the infused alloy, and it will upgrade this to the next tier. There we go. There's the next tier of the alloy. You can also place obsidian into this machine. The enrichment chamber is a really fun machine. It has a lot of good recipes to it. It's good for ore doubling it when you have regular ores. That gives you 4 obsidian dust. And if you put an obsidian dust in here with the diamond in the chamber, that will bring you up to the refined obsidian dust, which can then be enriched. And I'm going to come over here and I'm going to dump out the remainder. So I'm going to do one more step here. All right, there we've got the enriched obsidian. We're going to drop that in here now that we got liquid refined obsidian, and take our reinforced alloy, and this will take it up to the top tier. And there we go, atomic alloy. You've now seen all the materials that we'll be messing with. In normal packs, you might want to also do steel in here, and that would be done by mixing coal. Actually, for once I didn't get a whole stack, and I want more than just one. If you put a piece of coal in here and run an iron, that'll, regular coal will get you 10. You can also, like the others, enrich it to get it 8 times more. But use up that 10 and you get enriched iron. But if you put another 10 millibuckets and the enriched iron, there's our enriched coal, which placed in here will get you 8 times as much. And we get steel dust. So it has to run through twice with coal to get the steel dust, but then you can cook that up and you've got steel. Anything else? There's a couple other materials. Lumium. You can make lumium. It's a mixture of dusts. You have some glowstone dust, tin dust, and silver dust. And that makes lumium. I've already got a seed from it because I made mix the dusts together and cooked it up. Didn't actually need any of the Mekanism machines to make it. And the other one is refined obsidian, which requires one more machine, which I will get from over here. Compressing factory. Now this looks different because it is a top tier machine. But if we put some, I don't have any more of the refined obsidian in here. Do I have it in my system? I think I do. There we go. Oh, actually, you need osmium in this one. Wasn't thinking. If you put osmium in here, and then it melts the osmium down, so you've got a tank of osmium. And if you take the, let's see, I need to cook the diamond up. Actually, I think I've got some in here. So the diamond in there and the refined obsidian, or the obsidian dust. This will get you the refined obsidian dust, which we saw before. That helps to make the atomic alloy. But instead of putting it in here, instead of putting it in there after enriching it or naked, you can put this dust, if I dump this, you can put this dust in here and you'll get 10. Enrich it first, you get 8. But if you place it in here as the input material with osmium, then you get refined obsidian ingots. There, finally got to where I was going. That's one of the other materials in this mod. And that's pretty much the top tier material. I think that covers everything. With the full suite of materials, you can make these things, which are the tier installers. And I think I've got some in my system. I've got 1 advanced. I've got 4 advanced. So let's make the basic, which uses the basic control circuit. The elite, which uses the reinforced alloy and these elite circuits, which are the upgraded version. And then the ultimate, which uses the refined variants. And these 4 on a regular machine, like the metallurgic fuser we started with, basic, crouch right click. Really? Okay, it's already basic. So that's advanced, that's elite. Did I have them in the wrong order? Okay, I did have them in the wrong order. So that was the basic, that's the advanced, that's the elite, and that's the ultimate. And each step, it gets more and more of these slots and lets it run faster. These slots are great because it can spread the items out. If you click this button, auto sort, it'll spread them out so they're all processing at once. It takes more power, but you can reduce the power with upgrades. And the 2 best to get are the energy upgrade and the speed upgrade. And you can crouch right click those in or open up this button and place them in this slot, and then they will get loaded in. And you can click to see how many. You can have up to 8. I've got 1 of each right now. You want a full set of energy because it reduces how much energy the system uses. And if you have all the power you need, go ahead and put a full set of speed in there. But they really increase the power draw. Each additional one, I don't know if it doubles it, but it's something along those lines. It is a curve that gets steeper. So more speed gives you more speed, but it also takes a lot more energy. So hover over here to see what the energy output is. You can also select one of these and say uninstall, and it pops it back out again if you want to remove it. Oh, and it shows you all the ones it can take. The only other one that this machine can take is the muffling upgrade. 4 of those will completely remove the sounds that the machine makes. But of course, you can always come in this pack at any rate and search for Mekanism and mute the machines by clicking this, or just turning down their volume to whatever level you want. I'll go ahead and mute them. So I did it like this because I'm not going to set them up until I know where I want to put them. But I've got a bunch of the machines made. I've used them a little bit to help make like the refined obsidian ingot seeds, just to get them started growing. But we will need more Mekanism later. I just wanted to show how to progress through that mod, and now I have. So I can put these in there too. All right, I think... Oh, yeah, there's one more thing I can do, and that is go down to our reactor. Because I have increased its size. Instead of having 1 layer, it now has 3 internal layers. I put this nice little walkway around it too. And I improved its control with this little setup. Now before we just had 2 of these reactor redstone ports, this one and that one, and they were connected by a single line of this red alloy wire between them. And one was set to when it's below a certain amount, like this, power on the system. Which meant as soon as it dropped below that part, it would turn on, and then when it immediately got over that limit, it would turn off again. And so it would stay at one level, but flickering on and off and on and off. It takes the system a moment to heat up and get to full efficiency. And then when it shuts down, you get a sort of a free ride back down. I haven't crunched the numbers by testing it to see if it's more, less, or the same efficient when it's turning on and off frequently, but I have a feeling it's less efficient. So I changed the control scheme. Now, the green and the white here are the same red alloy wire, but you can wrap it around some wool. Well, actually, it's the other way around. You're wrapping wool around the wire to get what they call network cables. And these are nice because when placed next to each other, they don't connect. But they will connect with the bare wire. So I've got 2 different colors here, lime and white. And I've placed a lime on either of these 2 and a white one on the middle. And then they connect to the red wires above. And then this is from the same mod, which is more red. And this is a latch. More red is a bunch of these circuit in a single plate type things. The latch is nice. If it sort of looks like a throw switch, you go shink. And that's sort of the way it works. Right now, the top is putting out a redstone signal and the bottom is not. The 2 sides are basically 2 people fighting over the switch. One of them can flip the switch up, and one of them can flip the switch down. And depending on how you place everything, if you place this below or in a different orientation or whatever, you may have to swap around which side is which. But the way I've got it set up here, this side on the right turns it to the way you see it now, with the bottom, which is connected to our power switch, off. So when this one sends a pulse, it turns it off. When this one sends a pulse, it reverses it and flips it on. So over here, when the power of the system, the built-in battery of the reactor, is below 25%, it will turn on. This will light up, and this will switch, and it will turn on the system, because this is on when it gets a redstone signal. So when this drops down to 25%, it will turn on. And then it'll start going back up again, which will cause this to go dark, because as soon as it's no longer below 25%, this goes dark. But this won't change, because it was the lighting this up turned it on. When this goes dark, it doesn't change anything. It'll stay the way it is. That's why it's a latch. So the system will stay powered on until it gets all the way back up to 90%, which I think this one's set to. Yeah, trigger while above 90. Then this one comes on, flips the switch in the opposite direction, so the reactor turns off. And then as power gets used, it'll start dropping back down again, and it won't be until it gets back to 25 that this one will trigger and flip the switch again. So by separating these, the on and off, to between 25% and 90%, it gives it a lot more time to run and a lot more time to be completely idle. So it should be more efficient that way. We should be getting pretty close to it turning on here. Let's see. Yeah, I think it's sort of close. I'm using a good bit of power now. 14,000 FE a tick is the output. It's fluctuating a little bit. But at any moment, this side should light up and this should switch sides. We're going to wait for paint to dry here, but it should happen very soon now. I'm willing to give it a try just because there it goes. You see it lit up? It was only on briefly, because as soon as it dropped below 25, it kicked the reactor on, which pushed it back over 25, and it turned it off. But there was all it needs is a pulse. A pulse on here, and it switches the switch. And now that's going to climb back up very quickly to 90. I had up to 95, but with the with more layers, that caused it to hit its maximum when it was cooling down. So I think 90 is a little safer. We'll check. There it goes. It just turned it off. And it's going up. It's cooling off. Yeah, looks like 90 is good. It doesn't hit the top, so we don't lose any energy. We catch it all. If I add more layers, then I may need to lower this number a little bit. And it's easy to add layers with this layout, because I can just vein break this glass, vein break these blocks, and then use my wand to extend the casing, extend the platinum blocks, and extend the fuel rods. And then I just have to place one row of the glass and these blocks, and then wand the glass across, and we're done. So easily upgraded. For the fuel, instead of having the drawers here that I had to manually fill, this one is my return chest. And this one is full of uranium. You know, it's got the green, white, green stripes. There we go. And that's what this up here is. It's outputting uranium. And I did use that destination thing to set a destination on this one because I had some other chests up here briefly, and I wanted to make sure everything went to the right place. But yeah, it's just piping out uranium to this, though we're still getting plenty from the farm. Got over 250,000, so we'll have power for days. Oh, I did calculate one thing. After 2 days, I've got over 1 million iron ingots. I was wondering, how long will this dank last if I'm putting in, let's say, 1 million a day of something? I'm sure something I'm making 1 million of a day, maybe like dirt. So I'm doing dirt seeds. No, it's only 1.5 million. I guess I'm just making the dirt essence. I'm not converting it. But let's say I'm making 1 million a day. Each of these slots holds 2.4 billion. So, that's 6 years. We're fine. I'm not going to be playing this back for years. Back of the napkin calculation, we're safe. This is not going to fill up, even with these massive speeds. Oh, and a really nice way, you notice all these numbers are sort of ticking as stuff comes in from the farm. The lower half is from the farm I just picked up. Nothing's ticking. The upper half, nothing's ticking at all. I just turned off both farms. These, the dimension where the hypercubes live is loaded if the hypercube exterior is in a loaded chunk. So as long as they are placed in a loaded chunk, and this is loaded because I'm here, but it's also chunk loaded, so if I log out, it remains loaded, then they are running. And now everything's running again. So they're very easy to stop. And Forge TPS. Yep, we're still running at 20. The Hyperbox mean tick time is 2 milliseconds. That's not too bad. But it is definitely the busiest of all the... Well, most of these dimensions are not loaded, so they're not doing much. The overworld has got 4, so it's half the time as the overworld. Each one of them is half, so together they equal the tick time of the world. But yeah, everything's running at 20. Server's good. All right, I think that... Oh, no. Here, one more thing. One more thing is the sunsets. One more project chest. I forgot about this one, and it's a good one. Applied Energistics. Yes, it's time to get some Applied Energistics on. And let's see if I remember how I wanted to set this up. And some universal pipe here. And then these are the inscribers, the basic inscribers that you can make without having any other parts from the mod. This is what you start with in Applied Energistics. I don't think you can feed anything in or out of the front, but I'll disconnect those anyway. And then place this down here, but I want to separate these two lines. And then let's see, I've got, that one's the silicon. I'll place that there. Redstone above it. Let's see. Yeah, a bit more. How did I place that one over there? That's right. And then, let's see, diamond, gold, Certus quartz. And now I want to run did that differently, but I think it'll work. Disconnect that. And then in between, I hope I'm getting this all right. That. So these are the universal pipes. They act as both item, liquid, and power. I'm basically using for item and power. As you can see, I'm connected to power. And these are 3 separate lines that only connect through this flux point. So they all get power, but items in one of these pipes doesn't connect to the others. And that is by design. I also want to disconnect those. Yes, okay. Let's put some inscribers in. In the bottom, I've got 4 silicon presses. And in the top ones, I've got, see, the engineering, that's diamond. So put that one in there. Calculation is the Certus. And then I've got 2 of the logic, because the lower tier you use more of. So I want 2 of those. Okay, I think. Oh, and then I'm 1 piece of pipe short. I definitely did assemble this different from last time. These are the outputs. And the ones down here are auto export. That's a new feature of these guys. They also take stacks now, which is nice. You can turn that off if you want to. And automation, yeah, I don't want it. You can have it so that it's sided or not sided. I like the new not sided. But I've set these all to auto export, so they'll push their output, because these will get the silicon from this drawer. So let's go ahead and activate that. And I think I will give it one of these and set it to round robin. Oh, and they're already going because they're getting power as well. And then they should be pushing, yep, they're pushing the printed silicon into the middle ones. These are the final assemblers. Oh, yeah, and there's not supposed to be there. That's the chest goes there. That's why I had an extra, I was missing a piece of pipe. There wasn't supposed to be a pipe there. It's supposed to be a chest. These are the outputs. But they won't output until they get everything they need. One of the things they need is redstone. So let's pop that in there and set it to round robin. So now they all should have redstone. They do. And now the top part. And because these each have their press in them, they should only accept the correct material. So all 3 of these drawers are going to be outputting to all 4 machines, but instead of like separating them, because then the power wouldn't go through, they're just going to all pipe into the same pipe, and everything should only go where it can. And I should give them some speeds too. Oop. One more. Though they don't really need round robin. The only one that's going to multiple machines is the gold, and it's only going to 2. So at that speed, that'll be full. So there they're producing their logic circuit. And then, oh, yeah, I didn't mean to separate these connections. They're supposed to be outputs, not broken. Oop. I'm just going to break that one. There we go. So that will output from there and input into the rows below. And there they go. They're making their get all 3 parts, and the output comes into this chest, and we've got our processors. Stock it. I could do the same thing I did with the uranium and have an ender chest for each of these materials and fill them from the danks. But for now, as much of the materials I've got in here, that'll probably do me for the time being for processors. And I can, once I get enough processors, there is a better inscriber. There we go. Which takes 4 of the regular one and a bunch of storage buses and 1 ME interface, and this extended inscriber can do 4 at a time. So it'll be much faster. So if I make any other changes to this, I would probably use all of these pieces we're making to upgrade these so they run 4 times faster. And then I probably wouldn't need 2 columns of the gold. I would go down to just 3 columns, but they'll each be running at 4 times the speed. So there we go, another project chest down. And that, I think, will be the episode. And it went long. I'm sorry. I tried to go quickly this time. Oh, you know, I've never had one of these guys give me the pickaxe, and I still haven't. Very disappointing. All right, I got more things I want to do, so I will see you in the next video as it starts to rain. This is Nonsanity signing out. Take care, be good, and see you next time.